Ziggity Zig back with the Friday Faff. This, of course, is Battle of the Bots 3, mostly because I like doing this, and these games are just hilarious. So here we are. We have AI number 1, who's the Protoss down here, and in the red Protoss up here and the top left of Akalon Waste. So it'll be a PvP on Akalon Waste of the Elite AI, which, as you can tell by the EPM spam, which currently is actually only 12 just because there's nothing to do. But once the game actually gets going, they ramp it up to quite a bit. So the question is, when you put two AIs on a random build, do they do something different? Because what we found in the TVT game is they both did the exact same thing. So with all these different builds that they theoretically have access to, they always seem to just kind of do the same thing. Like, we're not seeing any kind of cheese, any kind of anything. Like, we could map the game out by this production tab up here in the top left, because of that is essentially what is going on. I need to move this over a little bit. There we go. All right. So now we have the camera exactly where we want it to be. Biggity bing bing bam. And blah. So I guess what we're waiting to see is what is going to come of this, because at the moment there is these the chrono boost going on from both, and there is the blue Protoss is putting down the gateway first. Red Protoss not quite interested in that just yet, but it's probably going to come down just here, so just a few seconds behind, and they're probably going to go a very similar build. I cannot speed this up because this is technically a live game, so there's no plus minus. I can do all sorts of things with the plus minus and nothing happens. Now, I'm going to hit the Control Z to get us out of here so that we can see a little bit more of the base. Look at all that nothing going on. And there goes the blue Protoss, and here is what they do. Here is what the elites do way often than me, is they scout out their base and they check for everything. This red Protoss is scouting out the base, checking everything. So no matter what you do, they always get the same thing. I think this might be my last one, because where I thought these would be kind of interesting, they really are quite boring. So I guess they're now going to go and check out each other's base. At least the red Protoss is now going to go and check out the other base. But no, he's going to come down here and, oh, alright, so he's going for the one gateway expand. Fair enough. Does not seem to be what... Okay, so before even taking the cyber course. So the blue Protoss is going to be essentially probably one base for the time being. A gateway expand for the red Protoss. So, there we go. I'm going to shut my mouth because we're not even going to care about things like that. So the blue is going to hop down here, and he might be going for an expand. No, he's going to go out for scout. So not going for the expand, even though, yeah, definitely does not have enough just there. So possibly starting to put down... Nope. Still just scouting things out. And here comes the red Protoss. And the red Protoss is going to notice something very, very quickly. Is going to notice that there is no... Well, isn't going to notice that there's no expansion, but is going to come in here and notice that... Oh, there's a Zealot. Yikes. Does not really run around. Doesn't see anything else going on. Does not check. Does not bother. Meanwhile, the blue Protoss is going to come up here and is going to spot... just the cybernetics course starting. There's just the first gateway. There's the first zealot. Runs out. Decides to see what else is going on. Does not check over here to see what is going on in the base. Come on, peeps. What the crap? So neither of them know about an expansion. Here comes the red Protoss is going to come in and have another look. Let's find out where precisely he's going. Up the ramp. Yay. Well done. All right, just going to check that out. Going to go in. Neither of them have seen this expansion yet, so as far as they each know, they're both just due to one base. So the blue Protoss a little bit behind just because decided to take the expansion a little bit later, but that means that he's just got, or he or she has a cybernetics core and warp gate slightly ahead. So meantime, they're both doing still just a little bit of map awareness. There's the blue Protoss going in, checking things out. Still does not see the expansion. I cannot believe these two have not seen each other's expansions. They've run past them twice each, and here is the beginnings of some units. Now, as far as the army supply, it is pretty similar at the moment, so we are on 2 bases just about started. The blue base is not quite up yet, and it doesn't really show too much of a discrepancy because there's only one more harvester right now for the red Protoss, because, I don't know, obviously just hasn't really been, they've just been working on the same amount of, but it is across 2 bases for the red and only across 1 base right now for the blue, but now we're going to probably see a split down here. Let's see if we can, oh yeah, there they all go. So there's another number of them just moving down there. So for a little while, we're going to see a real drop in production value, but that's okay. Now, if you look at the blue Protoss, he's now going in for yet another look to see if there's anything in the third derp. Oh, is he taking a third? Check for a second, you jackass. In the meantime, the red Protoss has just totally given up on checking on anything whatsoever. So the blue Protoss comes down here and says, oh, okay, her derp didn't see any expansion, so we're going to pop up here and get shot at by a stalker. That should be a good time. It's going to wander over here and check for a third and fourth. This is ridiculous. Are you just assuming? I mean, you can with the AIs, they can technically tell what you're doing, which was what happened when I tried doing a cannon rush against a very hard AI. That was hilarious. Don't think that one's going to get away with its life. No, there's first blood, and there it is. So resources lost so far is 50 minerals, a huge 50 minerals. If you come in on Wednesday, we'll knock off a little bit of the price and make it only 49, and that is the big price right there. So the red Protoss, I keep saying Terran, red Protoss is now checking for the expansions, but the problem is that coming up against this, ooh, it does look like they have a fairly similar Stalker build right now going on, but he's going to come up here and maybe go in for a look, and herp derp, doesn't look like anything's up that ramp, so I'm going to just go over here and see if I can see a third or a fourth, and no, just going to do a little dance, rope-a-dope, and do-si-do, and I don't see anything over here except for a lot of gas coming out of these 3 bowling ball hold little orifices in the ground. That's cool. So we'll see if he is going to go and check out anything else. We do see 2 robotics bays. Actually, yeah, we do see 2 robotics bays. 2 of them going down here for the blue player. So he's got 2 robotics bays instead of just the 1. Actually, no, and then we got 2 going down for the red as well. What the crap? So they are doing effectively the same thing. They just got their expansions at different times. And one of the basic parts of the build is, for the love of God, do not check and see if your opponent has a natural expansion yet. Go and check for the thirds. And if they don't, then what do you know? Nothing. That's what you know. Always check for the expansion, especially if you don't see a third. Then you should go and find out. You should send some sort of scan in, some sort of indication. But if you look at what their visions are, they do not see anything. Meantime, they just have these probes chasing each other around and little else. 100% of the army sitting here right up on the ramp. 100% of the army sitting over here the exact same way because they have the exact same number of stalkers, I believe. Yep, they have 12 and 12. All right, and there's 1 zealot apparently, possibly roaming around, probably just scouting out the base, just making sure, is anyone in my base? No, there's no one in my base. These games are getting boring, and I'm sick of them. So this will be our last one, I think. We're just not going to do these anymore, despite the fact that they are pretty fun, despite the fact that we're looking at 400 EPM and an average of 30. So this is just an example of how to get your builds going, but not to actually do anything. I don't know. I mean, is this a safe build? Yes. At the same time, no. We still don't actually see a mothership core, so I don't know. We're 9 minutes in. What are you, me? So we have a couple of Immortals coming out now, and a robotics bay for the blue Protoss, so possibly moving into some Colossus play. Meantime, the red Protoss is only making just an Observer and an Immortal, so just getting out both at the same time. So these are the buildings. There are still just 3 gates. 3 gates there. Gonna get the robotics bay. There's nothing down here at the base. This zealot is gonna take the longest time ever trying to get through this amount of rocks, and we do have a couple of observers either just following each other across. So a few more units coming in. It does seem to be slightly favoring the red Protoss, but the red Protoss does not have... There we go. So the Twilight Council finishes for the blue Protoss, and the blue Protoss now getting Dark Shrine. So Dark Shrine Colossus production is possible for the blue Protoss. The red Protoss is going to get down to its 3rd, maybe slightly faster, I don't know, but the blue Protoss is going to take the initiative and get out that expansion first. There comes the expansion at exactly the same time. If you just mirror this entire thing, you could just split a line right down the middle of the game and you can see the exact same thing going on. So as long as you fought in your quadrant of things and not directly in the middle where it would be exactly mirrored, you'd both die. So as long as you fought in yours, you probably do all right. Cross over to the other, then that would be a hit for home. Yes, it's kind of like a dream sequence where everything is backwards and backwards is upward side down. So we got double forges going on so we can get a few upgrades going for the blue Protoss. I do see things going pretty well for the blue Protoss just because of the Dark Shrine and the Colossus production being possible. There is a Warp Prism now heading out. Templar Archives for the red Protoss, so it's going to be High Templar instead of Dark Templar for the red Protoss as a possibility if they ever get the friggin' units out towards each other. Now, the red Protoss does seem to have a slight advantage in army, but I think the tech slide is going to go to the... Oh, really? Is that it for upgrades? Well, that's weird. Okay, so there's really very little upgrades. We've got a +2 going, +1/+1 right now for both, but just a number of units still. There we go. So the Templar Archives right now for the blue as well. The Templar Archives finishes, and now Psionic Storm being resurged as well as Ground Weapons 1 and a few Archons right now. So the Archons are coming out. Dark Templar Archons, not even bothering with the Dark Templar. So the Red Terran finally, or the Red Protoss finally did get in and have a look-see and did find out something here at the 3rd. Nothing being scouted. Oh, actually, yeah, with the Observer did manage to scout over there. I was busy looking at the production tab. Sorry about that, but that's okay because now we have Observers coming over here from both. So they basically just wait until the 13-minute mark before they could go and check out each other's bases and find out what kind of tech they've got. But since you're an elite AI, you know exactly what the other person's going to do, and that is exactly what you're doing, and that is what you're coded to do. So the odd thing is, they've both arrived at this strange series of Archon Stalker... Archon Stalker, there's one DT, but it's just waiting for another DT to come through. So this little guy is having a look and seeing at the entire army, and they are just really right on exactly the same, despite the fact that they took two different methods of getting there. So there's a fourth base now starting up for the red Protoss. No fourth base right now for the blue, except, yep. There it goes, and this little guy is going to have a look and notice the perfect right thing. So seeing just 3 bases right now, and here comes this blue Archon around here to destroy this poor little measly probe. Oh, a little bit of overkill, and a Dark Templar. Just the 3 of them go in there and take him right the hell out. So the only thing now is this Dark Templar is going to finish off this wall so that will make your 4th base a little bit more protected. There might be an Observer. Oh, the Observer sort of sitting here in the back. Can't really do much about this, but with the Observer sitting right there, once this red Observer comes over here anywhere near the blue Observer, then most of these guys are going to absolutely roast him. So if you look at the units tab right now, we are standing at a slight advantage in Stalkers and Immortals for the red Protoss, but the Archon count is going to the blue Protoss, and as far as upgrades go, still not making any use of this robotics bay right there, but we do have a number of warp prisms on their way out. So apparently everyone's just kind of going with a Terran medevac drop type of thing, and they might be moving up into these units, and they knock down this wall in order to not do anything about it. And oh, if you guys walk through that wall, you are so derpy dumb. Might be what's going on there, but no, it looks like right now, I believe. Yep, they are trying to go through that. They got the why'd you knock that down? Why'd you knock that down? That was a perfectly good spot to check for things. And here comes another probe, and another Observer is on its way through. This little red guy is going to come up here and notice that there's a few cannons there. There are still no more. Actually, no, there are. So there are a number of. We're only up to 6 gateways right now. So the income right now, as far as the blue Protoss is concerned, is mostly into the minerals. And there we go. They are just knocking that down at the moment. And as far as the income goes, then it is pretty much the same. The blue Protoss does have a lot more invested into minerals. And out comes the army, finally moving out. We have charge on the way from the red Protoss. Psionic Storm is just starting right now for the blue Protoss, but that's okay because the red Protoss is just making High Templars in order to make Archon. So they do have the Archon advantage right now, 9-4, but going up against, I don't know what, a whole bunch of Immortals and possibly some charge slots, maybe finishing in just a few seconds, but it does look like they're going to get through here, and the Guardian Shield is taking a fair amount of the damage away from the range. I think charge is just going to finish in just a couple of seconds, and yes, there, it is now done. So the red Protoss now has charge lots, and they're running in there, and it does seem like they do have a bit of an advantage just there. The Archons are being obliterated by these Immortals that are just taking them down as massive units, and just 2 shots, 1 to 2 shot, and these Stalkers are not faring too well against these Immortals either. Did a very good job keeping up against the Immortals. I'm not sure if Colossus would be able to defeat this, but it does look like the blue army is being horrendously decimated. And it does, yep, that has pretty much taken care of that. And yet here come a few more units, but the problem is that with a Robotics Bay build, it does have quite a lot of Observers. And now here come the Observers retreat. The red Protoss is now moving over because I believe they have found out that there is, yep, has seen this up here, so is checking on this 5th base up here in the corner, and they both are moving into 5 bases. This is when the game actually gets interesting, when the two do not actually know what each other are going to do, and here is the remainder of the blue army, which is not near strong enough to take care of any or all of this. This does destroy this 5th base by the blue Protoss, but now they are sort of trapped into a corner by a small number of units, so I'm not sure if that's really going to help all that much, but here comes some more Archons, and a couple of Immortals, not near enough Immortals, as they're going to need to take care of this army, and I don't think the only thing that might be able to take this out would be Void Ray, but I don't think either of the players have decided to move into a Stargate. Now the Robotics Bay for Colossus support for the red Protoss is just starting now, but I think it is already over. There is no need to continue on with any more of this. Expanding to the 5th base quite comfortably in behind this entire thing. And meanwhile, the red army is still just sort of waiting to clump up a little bit more, reinforcing as we go. No pylons to speak of out into the middle of the base, despite the fact that there are a number of probes just wandering around, so I'm not sure I fully agree with this. There's Blink. So with Blink and with Charge out of the Twilight Council, it does look like they'll be able to move through this pretty easily, even taking out these Dark Templar, because having the Observers with them. There's a number of them, there's 3 of them just sitting out there, hanging out right in the middle of this whole base, and they come in and take out this 3rd expansion here at the top, which is full of cannons, but the cannons are just not quite beefy enough. I'm not sure if you can get, I don't think you can get building shields or building upgrades as Protoss, but oh, there's an interesting size storm right there just to take care of a couple of these probes that are just niggling around, even moving his own probe out of the way. If you take a look at the EPM, they are in the high 200s right now, and there is gravitic boosters? That doesn't sound like it's grammatically correct. And there is a Colossus right now for the red Protoss, which is probably, I don't think it would have saved the game for the blue Protoss, but having Colossus production available that early probably would have wanted to take advantage of it, and maybe that would have told a different tale. But as it stands, it's now 5 base versus 4 base. This base, actually, the blue Protoss is trying to do something about it. It's trying to actually rebuild that base, given the fact that the red Protoss has totally forgotten all about it. But the little pylon comes past here. No, does not quite see it. Does not quite see the additional base, but now just sort of going one by one, taking out the cannons first, then moving on just to see if there's any further defenses at the same time. There are a number of doomed probes just here to the back, and now we're going to look at, oh dear, here's the losses, and it's into the 24,000, so quite a bit ahead. And these probes do not make their way out of here, which you could occasionally do, but even if you could, the blue Protoss does not even have 400 minerals to start up another base. They merely just have, oh, well, there you go. Well, they tried to start 2 bases anyway. So once you lose your base, the best thing to do is rebuild that base in the exact same spot. Here is another base being built by the red Protoss, just in case you missed that up in the minimap. But the red Protoss is basically now just sort of storming in through here. There's the GG by the blue Protoss. It has been over for a number of minutes, but usually just here, never to say never until they are at your front door. Once they get to your front door where you've hidden on all your tech and your gateways, that is when you GG, and that is when effectively the game is over. I do not believe they tap out fully until everything is done, so we will get out of this and a victory for the blue Protoss that time. But such a similar game until they just sort of move out with their army, and then you find out what they've got. Just a mild advantage there for the blue Protoss, and then just came in and whomped things, because having outnumbering in Immortals instead of outnumbering in Archons seemed to be the way to go there. Immortals outweigh Archons just a little bit. If you watched this, leave me a comment down below. Send an email to contact, or send an email to ziggitysig@gmail.com. I got all my stuff all screwed up. Or you can follow me on Twitter at ziggityzig. That was the Friday Faff. Battle of the Bots Part 3. If you're enjoying these, let me know. If they just seem kind of formulaic and ridiculous, let me know. I'm just trying to cast a fast game, see if I can do it. Stay tuned.